What is up? It's time for your Friday, February 27th edition of the Hammer Daily here on the Hammer channel. And we are back with a banger. I am your guest host for this Friday. My name is Jacob Gramegna, filling in day 2 of Jason being away. And finally, we're going to have somebody who's able to pronounce NBA names correctly and European soccer clubs correctly. Great show on the way today, but some breaking news to get us started on the show here. Some exciting news, I would say, in the NBA universe. Really interesting one that I wanted to bring up here. Con Knipple, see, I can actually pronounce Con Knipple, breaks the NBA rookie three-point record, 207 threes and counting for the Charlotte Hornets rookie. The Charlotte Hornets, I mean, we got to brand him as a star at this point. There's like 22 games remaining in this, just absolutely shattering the record. And it brings up like what I think is a very interesting thing about where the NBA is right now. The NBA, and why part of the reason why I love the NBA is how much the sport continues to evolve and evolve to the point where like we're able to see records not only being broken but like shattered. You go to the Winter Olympics and all of the world records you see broken are typically like very minuscule. And like the more and more you see these sports, so over like, let's say sports that exist for like, let's say 125 years, for example, you'll see like these very large jumps on the line graph of the records being broken. But then as you go further and further down the line, it's all these like really small incremental things. So like at the Olympics, I guess we'll say like the Summer Olympics, sometimes the world record being broken is like how high up above sea level you are, or the temperature that day, or the air pressure that day. Like all these little things contribute to records being broken. But in the NBA, because of this real change in the way in the landscape the game is played was three-pointers and spacing, we're seeing records being absolutely shattered. And we have a really good example of that here with Con Knipple doing it. 207 and counting, 22 games left. Keegan Murray had the previous record in 80 games. He hit 206 a few years ago. Before that, it was Donovan Mitchell. He played 79 games, 187 three-pointers made. So it's a testament to how the NBA continues to evolve, and it's very exciting how much it does. And I mean, a very large testament to how good Con Knipple is. Wow. What a player, super fun player to watch. But let's get into what you're going to see on the show today. I told you off the top, we have a very good show lined up for you today. First of all, we're going to bring on my former co-host on the Board YouTube channel, the Hammer's former NBA content division, Pips NBA, super sharp NBA player prop bettor. We got him. He's the creator of Prop Madness, and he's blessing us with his time, and he's blessing us with a couple of bets. We have a straight player prop, and then we have an SGP for you guys to consider tailing today. And to be honest, I would recommend tailing it because he's a very good bettor, as I mentioned. Then we're also going to be talking about some teams of interest in the NBA. We're talking about his Rockets. We're also going to talk about the San Antonio Spurs, their ability to potentially challenge OKC Thunder for the West and potentially for the NBA championship. And then the Cleveland Cavaliers, can they challenge for the East, given their current position and the moves they made at the trade deadline? After Pips, we're going to get into soccer. We're going to bring on Adrian, Drunken Goon. Lots of interesting news around the soccer universe at the moment. We just had the UEFA Champions League last 16 draw. We're going to react to the draw, talk about the marquee matchups there, the ones that we're most interested in. Then we're going to branch out into European soccer and their respective leagues, talk about the biggest games on the calendar. We have their Classicer. We have a very big London derby, and potentially some other ones to discuss there as well. But after that, we're going to get into the MLS, maybe talk a little bit of TFC. The Josh Sargent signing made official a little bit earlier on today. So lots of great stuff for you guys. Lots of great betting insight. If you enjoy what you see along the way with the stream today, please do us a favor and hit that like button. Really does help drive us up in the YouTube algorithm. And it lets YouTube know to send this to more people, because if you like it, they'll think, well, somebody else may like it as well. And as for subscribers, we appreciate each and every one of you that watches daily. But there are also people who are watching and potentially watching daily who aren't subscribed yet. We can call it an honest mistake, whatever you want it to be, but do me a favor, check right now, make sure you're subscribed as we push for 5,000 subscribers on the channel. If you're already subbed, do me a favor and ask your betting group chats to do the same. If you're getting value out of it, maybe the people with a like-minded towards yourself will also enjoy the channel. I know you talk about betting with other people who aren't watching the Hammer and sub to us. Let's change that right now. All right, guys. Good intro there. but it is time to get into the show today. As I mentioned, our first guest up on the show is Pips NBA. Like I said, my former co-host on the Board YouTube channel. We used to see each other 5 times a week doing content just like this, but haven't spoken to him really like face to face like this in a while. So let's bring him on up. Pips NBA, the creator of Props Madness, rocking your Houston Rockets jersey as well. Pips, how you doing today?
Hey man, long time no see.
Mm,
Hopefully everyone hears me. This is like a new setup for
I
the
gotcha.
show. Yeah, so yeah, it's been great. Uh, Love having you on and instead of Jason, of course.
Fuck that guy.
And yeah, that's it.
What do you got today? The Şengün jersey, or is that the old Harden jersey?
Harden Jersey.
Okay,
Şengün
okay,
being
that's
kind
good.
of yeah,
It kind of
Şengün
fits
lately
into
being kind of in slump big.
it fits into like 2 of the segments that we have today. So that's really good. But so how's the NBA season going for you? You've started to do a lot of your own content with involving Props Madness and the tool there. How's the NBA season going for you? About 2/3 of the way through.
I would say the best season ever in terms of like winning. I would say now like I've been like having private groups and sharing picks and always trying to be like widely available.
Yeah.
And now when you are like mostly just betting, you can take every line that's just off on like I'm mostly betting against sharps, so that FanDuel mostly like I would say 70% of my volume is against FanDuel, but I kind of bet earlier. Like I'm betting at like 7 a.m. Eastern time, and
Mhm.
it's been really great to win. And also additional some of exchanges as out has been great. So yeah, but FanDuel mostly. So yeah, it's been great season so far. Either way, either side. So really enjoying it. So yeah, there is that.
All right, let's get into. I mean, you talked about the winners. Hopefully, we can get some on the show today as well. Let's get into the bets you have because there's a bunch to talk about after the fact. We'll start off with the player prop you have. Not a humongous NBA slate today, but you did identify 2 bets that you're interested in. So let's go to one of the earlier games on the slate. Eastern Conference battle, divisional battles between the Brooklyn Nets and the Boston Celtics. Humongous spread here, 18-point spread. But you do like somebody on the underdog side of things here with the Nets. Talk us through what you got.
Yeah, so let's just figure out how to share the screen. Is it up?
Oh yeah, we got it. We got it.
Okay, so yeah. Oh, it's mirrored for me. I don't know if it's for you.
It is.
How the fuck did that happen? What
I
did
don't
I do
know.
wrong?
There we go.
I'm
We got
using.
it. We got it. It's
Okay,
good now.
it's
I
great.
don't know if that
Okay,
was
so
Mike in the background, but I think we got it.
yeah, I don't know. So it's Nolan Traore from the Brooklyn Nets over 10.5 points. Minus 114 FanDuel. Shop around, maybe some better prices out there, but I think this like a consensus is at minus 114. So yeah. Thing with this one is mostly betting on, as you said, huge spread for this one. And I'm like, okay, who is the guy that gets garbage time run? And it's Nolan Traore. Last night he didn't get blowout run because probably this was a back-to-back spot. So okay, no like garbage time run because we are playing tomorrow. If they run away today, I definitely expect Nolan Traore to play in the garbage. So he should be locked in. Like last night, 30 minutes, even though he didn't close the game. And we can see that I would say, I think 10 games. Yeah, 10 straight games when he gets like 26 plus minutes, and 7 straight when he got at least 28. So over the last 7 games, he's averaging 30 minutes a game. So on the season, without Cam Thomas, when he gets at least 25 minutes, we can see that he covered this line in 7 out of 10 games, averaging 13 points a game. Michael Porter Jr. questionable. Demin, I don't know, Egor, Diomin, yeah. I heard it so many times, but I can never
Yeah,
remember
Yegor
how it's
Diomin.
played.
It's a tough. It's a brutal
Yegor
one.
Diomin, yeah, definitely. So both these guys are questionable. Cam Thomas already shipped. I mean, not shipped, but they gave up on him. So without him and with those guys in, he's averaging 13 points. And most importantly, matchup does look tough. But the only two things Boston Celtics gives up: spot up, catch and shoot, and points to pick and roll ball handler. They are average to below average in those areas. Every other area, they are one of the best in the league. We can see a lot of run under 10 feet, transition, free throws. But key thing for this one, they already played this season, and they played 24th January, so a month ago, and he had season high 21 points against Boston Celtics with Michael Porter Jr. playing, with Cam Thomas playing. Now without them, with them out, and he kind of maturing. Like he's a bright spot of this Nets team this season, especially as of late. Rookies tend to perform much better after the All-Star break, and now he's kind of improved and kind of in a spot where he needs to take a lot of volume. And 10 and a half, when he gets 30 plus minutes, is just undervalued line, in my opinion. If someone of these guys gets ruled out, it will jump to 12 and a half. If both ruled out, probably to 13 and a half. If they're ruled in, probably stays at 10 and a half as fair. So we are kind of free rolling here for Nolan Traore.
All right. Nolan Traore over 10.5 points, -114, available at FanDuel, still available at FanDuel as well for you to snap up in the Brooklyn Nets game against the Boston Celtics, hoping for a really good start from Boston just to give him the potential garbage time boost as well. So solid first play there, but we're not done with that one play. We got a second play coming up from Pips as well. We're going to head into the SGP board. Could be a boost as well to get this boosted odds for you on FanDuel, but which will, for the show purposes, we'll talk about just the standard price in this SGP. We're going to be going to Kevin Porter Jr. for all three legs. Pips, take away the second play.
So it's 15 plus points, 6 plus assists, and 4 plus rebounds. Still probably a great spot to bet over 31.5 points, rebounds, and assists at FanDuel at -112. I like that as well. I'll research on that part, and then I'll just break separately all three markets. I don't know what's the current price on
plus
FanDuel.
124.
Plus 144, so that's definitely
124. 124.
Okay, 124. So on the season, when he gets when he doesn't get injured in a game, which happened twice this season, he's averaging 32.5 points, rebounds, and assists. Covered this in 60% of the games. But when we look at the games with Rollins in and without Giannis, we can see that he covered this line in 13 out of 15 games. Like straight up, no additional filtering. And one game that he stayed under against the Nets, I remember it because I bet he's under, because he scores most of his points as a pick and roll ball handler, and the Nets are the best pick and roll ball handler defense in the league. They just blitz and hedge and double every single pick and roll. So when we exclude the games when he played a tough matchup for a pick and roll ball handler, we can see that he then covered this line in 13 out of 14, averaging 37.2 points, rebounds, and assists. And as we can see, Knicks, good defense overall, but they are allowing a ton of points to pick and roll ball handlers and a ton of points to his position. So yeah, good spot for Kevin Porter Jr., great matchup. So I'm just quickly break out every single market. Points, we're betting 15 plus, cover this in every single one of these. 6 plus assists, cover this in 11 out of 14. The games that he didn't cover against Pacers, 5 assists on 14 potential, 5 assists on 12 potential in a blowout loss where they couldn't get anything going. So even when he stayed under, he was supposed to cover because he had such a great volume of created potential assists. And then last part, rebounds, 4 plus, also covered 12 out of 14. So getting plus money on this combination, or betting at over 31.5 points, rebound, assist, both well. I'm choosing the same game parlay for plus 124. Also gives you a chance for a boost, guys. So yeah, that's from me. All the research done on Props Madness. If you do any originating on Player Props, advise you to sign up. And yeah, that's it.
All right, so Props Madness is the tool that helped along with this play. Once again, it is Kevin Porter Jr., 15 plus points, 6 plus assists, and 4 plus rebounds. That's plus 124. Currently available at FanDuel, our presenting sponsor. You can also look for it over on points, rebounds, and assists as well. If you want to shop around, try and find better price. We're getting the plus money number here and the opportunity to use a token on this one. So we'd advise you to head over to our presenting sponsor, FanDuel. Now we're going to keep going. We're going to get into some real ball discussion, I'd say. Let's start off with the Houston Rockets because you're a big fan of the Houston Rockets. You're wearing your Houston Rockets jersey, of course. Talk to us about the current state of affairs for the Rockets. They made the real big splash in the offseason, of course, going after Kevin Durant. Behind the scenes, I don't know if the relationship has been excellent with Kevin Durant, but the team on the floor, 37-21, have to feel pretty happy. But you're upset about one aspect of their game at the moment. So talk to us about the coaching and what's going on.
So I'll definitely have like Udoka, probably like top 3 defensive coaches in the league. Mazzulla is up there. I don't know who is third. Probably need to think about it, but not important for this one. But I will definitely have him probably at bottom 5 in offense. Offense is horrible. Every single game, every single night, we build up leads. Then he benches Rich Shepard. Then he plays 3 non-shooters in the clutch, and ball got stagnant. A ton of ISOs, ton of turnovers because we don't have any creator. We don't have anyone who can create their own shot, handle the ball. So yeah, we end up losing so many of these close ones. Horrible offense. You have like guys on the court. Şengün can shoot. You have sometimes Okoji. You have Eamon Thompson. You have Tariq. Tariq shooting the ball great, but not a great volume. He'll make some if he's wide open. So yeah, mostly like playing 2 to 3 non-shooters in 2026 doesn't work. Maybe work with Adams in the lineup when you can grab every single offensive rebound. That was the decent strategy, but now with Adams' shot, it doesn't look great. But still, record is great. We are, I think, 4th best record in the entire league, or fifth best record in the entire league, which is good. But when the playoff time, when it's clutch time, I don't trust this team. And lately, finally, he let Rich Shepard to get big minutes. And Rich Shepard is amazing. Like, he has some issues on defensive side because he's undersized. But on offense, he creates so much gravity, so much space, and he makes every single bucket. Like, if he is wide open, he is going to score. He is going to pull up from pick and rolls. And also, he gives Şengün and KD so much space when he's the first guy next pass closest to them. Pick and roll with them is great. So, hope he plays Reed more. When the year started, we had this discussion about Shepard at the position, and I said after All-Star break, I expect him to be a positive player for the Houston Rockets, and he even did it way earlier. I will say over the last couple of weeks, he's been positive. He just needs to get the minutes.
Right. How much of the offensive struggles for the Rockets perhaps comes down to, at the end of the day, Reed Shepard's getting these extra minutes because more so out of necessity originally because of the lack of point guard. The Fred VanVleet injury was pretty devastating to an already thin point guard depth for the roster. How much of the offensive struggles kind of come down to personnel, do you think?
A ton. Like you are playing like Tariq and can't handle the ball. You're playing Jabari Smith can't handle the ball. You're playing like some minutes to Koji can't handle the ball. Amen is good handler, but defenses just sag off and defending him like Ben Simmons. And then KD needs to create, and he's having career high in turnovers because it's rough. No spacing, no space, and he's not a great ball handler. And it's Şengün getting like isolation outside of on the perimeter and initiating from there doesn't look great. So, and when Rich Shepard is there, he can run the point, he can dribble the ball, he can pull up. So definitely helps a ton. Mostly because that's what they need. If Fred VanVleet was out there, definitely could be games where Rich Shepard doesn't get minutes when the shots are not falling. But now they need to play him anyway. Like, okay, he'll sacrifice maybe like 2 to 3 points of defensive rating on the defensive side, but he'll probably get 5 on the offensive side as well.
Right. So how well do you think the Rockets stack up to some of the best in the West? Like, do you think this is a legitimate threat for a championship?
Nope. I don't think any team in the history of the NBA was contender with a guy with 4 millions on the contract off. Like when they like have like a I can't remember if it anything happened. And this is a crucial spot for the Houston Rockets. Like they have 44 million, I think 42, I would say, in Fred VanVleet contract, and he's out for the entire season. So it's tough to compete on the highest level. But if they get like Nuggets or did they get like Lakers, Suns, Warriors, they can beat them. But I'm not seeing them beating the OKC, even though physicality wise they are a great matchup for them. But OKC will just sag off on Emin, double team Shengun, double team KD, and there is no shooters to punish them. So a rough one. Similar thing with Spurs. If they play in the playoffs, I have Spurs over Houston. But I said Houston can definitely win against Nuggets, against Wolves, against Lakers, and any other team. So probably winning in the first round, and then, especially if they're playing Lakers, we'll love to see that. And then second round next probably against the Spurs or against the Thunder.
All right. So speaking of contending in the West, let's move up a tick from the 3 seed to the 2 seed. San Antonio Spurs are a team that is on our mind today. They're 43-16. They've won 11 games in a row, only 1.5 games back now of the OKC Thunder. Thunder, as far as like the NBA title odds are concerned, still up there, still the favorites to go win the championship, plus 135. But how much of a threat do you think the Spurs are to that? They're third in championship odds on FanDuel. They're plus 950. The Nuggets, by the way, in second place at plus 600. How much do you think the Spurs can compete with the likes of the Thunder, and can they actually challenge for a championship?
Yeah, I think they can win against anyone. Probably, obviously, won't be favorites, but I think they can win against anyone because they have nine NBA players on their roster and Victor Wembanyama. So 8 guys that are good players, like AD, like they have like Harrison Barnes, or like guys that can give you like 15 minutes a game, like as their 9 guy, like Harrison Barnes, like they're deep, like Fox, Castle, Vassell, Keldon, Champagne, Harper, Barnes, Cornet as back, like, and Wemby on top of it. So like they're a deep team. Not a huge fan of some of these players. Like I know, like not a huge fan of like Fox in this, like as a second guy. But when your second, third, fourth, and fifth guy are close and can produce, and you have like such a beast in Wemby out there, and you are like probably second best defense in the league with Wemby healthy, getting close to the OKC levels when Wemby is on the court and healthy. When you have Wemby and Castle, then yeah, definitely can. And we've seen this season when they played against this OKC, they had success more than any other team in the league. So maybe there are some kryptonite, and if someone is, it's Wembanyama.
Yeah, you bring up a good point. The Spurs have a really good record against the Thunder this season. Even when the Thunder were winning like every single game they played and they were healthy, the Spurs were still beating them. Those were the few games that they were dropping when the Spurs got involved. So, yeah, definitely interesting to see how that dynamic would go. I'd love to see a playoff series there, but we'll just have to wait and see. I mean, the Spurs could be the home seed for that series as well with the way things are going at the moment. Let's shift over now to the Eastern Conference, though. The Cleveland Cavaliers made a lot of noise at the trade deadline, acquiring James Harden. And since the acquisition of Harden, they have been playing some great basketball. They're 2 games back of the 2 seed. They're half a game back of the 3 seed, currently occupying the 4th seed in the in the Eastern Conference, but have the highest odds to win the NBA championship out of any Eastern Conference team. They're plus 950 to win the NBA championship. They're plus 270 to win the East, ahead of the Pistons and Celtics, both at plus 350. Are the Cavs the real deal after this James Harden trade?
Yeah, I would say they improved a ton, mostly on defense, and that's where they had some issues. And think mostly as well for the playoffs, because then now they have such much deeper team, much more versatile team, and much more. I mean, they are now having some injury issues, which is unfortunate, but they looked much healthier team as coming to the playoffs. Yeah, Garland over the last 2 seasons were kind of never healthy.
Yeah.
Harden is known like a machine, healthy machine, like some thumb injury now. But I will point out one thing. I just spent like 2 hours today, like watching some content on their defense. like Dunker Spot, great podcast
Yeah.
for like yeah. So I watched them talk. They were breaking down their game against the Knicks, and it's so cool when you have like Harden is like, for example, defending pick and roll instead of Garland, and then they try running Brunson and Mobley pick and Brunson and Towns pick and roll, and you can just switch Harden on Towns and be like he can hold his own there, or switch against some other guys, and he's so smart on defense, like telling guys where to go, which is crazy to think about Harden, but I think they're mostly improved on defense with this trade, and also they added Keon Ellis and Schroeder. Those guys are running guys off in the second unit. Like Schroeder was full court pressuring Brunson, doing great job against him. Keon Ellis like not as great of a volume shooter as Sam Merrill, but much better on defense and fits like the perfect role. So I would say they are much more versatile, much better on defense. Like when you had Garland and Mitchell, you always need to help. So they are kind of always in rotation and helping and helping. And now when you have a Harden, they just pre-switch stuff and don't need to help as much. Like he will obviously get beat out by quicker players, but you can definitely switch Harden on like bigger wings or like even smaller bigs like Towns. He was great when he was defending Towns in post-up. Towns couldn't move him. So yeah, definitely improvement there. Like they have so much more there.
I'm glad you brought up the defensive side of it because I was going to ask you there. Second unit, Ken Ellis was a really nice pickup. Same with Dennis Schroeder. Good for the great second unit guys. As for the starting unit, is there a little bit of fear with the backcourt defense? Because I feel like that's been an issue in previous years where they're just not getting enough out of Garland and Mitchell. Harden is a step up, I think, compared to Garland, but it still kind of maybe leaves a bit of a weakness there. What do you think on that?
I think obviously I would say improvement over the Harden, but Mitchell and Harden still definitely not that good
Yeah.
defensive backcourt. But the thing with Harden is, and that's not unlike the thing with Garland, you can put Harden on wings. Like he was defending Josh Hart, sagging off of him, helping off of him. Harden is not a good player when he needs to rotate a lot, and he's not a like good player when he needs to guard like quick guards.
Yeah.
But when he is like can play off the ball, roam around and help, he's great. He has a big IQ, high IQ, and does that really well. And if you put him on bigger guys, he can definitely hold his own in post up. He's one of the best guard post up defenders of all time, which is crazy to say. But like that's one of the area of the, and they are playing him that way. He was defending Towns, switching on Towns. He was sagging off of Josh Hart, defending OG Anunoby. So yeah, it definitely helps. And you have, I think they had Dean Wade starting and defending Brunson, and then you can switch Dean Wade on like they played like pick and rolls with Towns. You have Mobley on Towns and Dean Wade on Brunson. They switch Mobley on Brunson and leave Wade on Towns, and they completely neutralized Knicks' offense because both guys can hold their own. It was absolutely like great defensive game from the Cleveland Cavaliers, and Harden did really well.
So interesting there on the Cavs. Do you think there's any meat on the bone essentially for the Cavs as far as bets are concerned? Because you like them to come out of the East.
Yeah, I think I actually gave that on the show like 2-3 weeks ago when after the trade deadline. I spoke with Jason and he said
Yeah,
he asked me about it. Yeah, and I said like I like Cavs the most, and I have them over Pistons in the finals of the East. Yeah, I don't know what was the number back then, but yeah, we have it.
I've got a ticket on the Cavs previously and a ticket on the Pistons. So a conference final between those two teams would be great for me. On the Pistons, last question I will ask you before we let you go. Question in the chat from Foxhole Guy 97 asking thoughts on Cade Cunningham not to win MVP at minus 650. Took a couple days ago. Now I've had time to think about this, so I'll go first. I kind of like it. I think Cade's a bit overrated in market. And I think part of it stems from just, I mean, there was an article we talked about on Circle Back earlier today, would showcase the pace of players towards getting to the 65 game mark. Cade is looking to clear that, but I think Cade only wins this if there is just like a complete like car accident in front of him of like every player getting injured, which I don't think is likely enough to happen to justify his price. So I actually quite like the minus 650 if you can stomach putting up that much juice. But what do you think, Pips?
Yeah, I said on previous shows as well. Like Shea, obviously his first one, and he's getting back tonight, so they definitely will try to get him to up to 65. Next one in line probably Jokic. Next one in line probably Wemby. Think they are both kind of on the. I hate this pace for 65 games, but they are trying to get them to 65 to be awards eligible. And then on the east side, as I said, like he should be closer to like Donovan Mitchell, because I think looking at the strength of schedule, Cleveland Cavaliers who ended up winning the East, not favorite, but there is a chance, and then Mitchell becomes even probably more likely than Cade to win. So I have like 5 players in front of Cade, not at the moment, but possibly in a couple of weeks. So minus 160. Yeah, I think it's good. Not my bet. I won't putting money on minus 650 for locking it up for how many, like 2 months?
Yeah, maybe more.
Maybe even more. So yeah, definitely not something I would do, but I think it's a long-term profitable spot, definitely. Yeah.
All right, Pips, great insight as always. Thank you so much for joining me on the Hammer Daily today. You can check out his product, Props Madness. You can follow him on Twitter at PipsNBA. Shared 2 bets today. Pips, thanks so much.
Thank you.
All right. That was Pips NBA. He gave out Nolan Traore over 10.5 points on FanDuel, and Kevin Porter Jr., 15 plus points, 6 plus rebounds, 4 plus assists. Those were the 2 plays for today. And we spoke about it when the Kevin Porter Jr. pick was given out, but potential as well for the SGP to get in on a boost with FanDuel, our presenting sponsor here on the Hammer YouTube channel. And it's Friday, and your Friday nights just got a little louder because NBA Happy Hour is live currently on FanDuel every Friday from 6 to 7:30 p.m. Eastern. FanDuel is running limited time specials to pregame your weekend. We're talking boost, bonuses, surprises, all dropping right in the app. Here's the move. Check the FanDuel app on Friday to see what the week special is. Then make your play before the shot clock expires at 7:30. I mean, for me, when it comes to Fridays, I like to do a lot of betting earlier on today. I get into plays early in the day, but when it comes to that little window before the game, maybe if my Raps are playing or there's a specific game I want to turn on, I'm looking for an SGP boost, and I'm looking for some props to hit right before the game begins. You know, catch my drift if you're wondering why I'm betting right before the game starts, but looking for some good plays, pairing them together for an SGP, hopefully getting that token, but always great possibilities available with the FanDuel Happy Hour. It's a perfect way to kick off the weekend, a little basketball, a little action, and a whole lot of FanDuel energy. That's NBA Happy Hour every Friday from 6 to 7:30 p.m. Eastern, only on FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NBA. Please play responsibly. Must be 21 plus and present in select states or Kansas in affiliation with Kansas Star Casino, or 18 plus and present in DC. 19 plus and physically located in Ontario, or 18 plus and present in DC, Kentucky, or Wyoming. Rewards are non-withdrawable. Restrictions apply, including bonus and token expiration, leg requirements, and max wager amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Visit rghelp.com. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut, or visit mdgamblinghelpline.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts, or call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York. Call Connex Ontario at 1-866-531-2600 or visit connexontario.ca. All right. NBA, great stuff there. We're going to leave that behind now. We're going to transition into soccer. We're going to talk a lot of great things with Adrian Drunken Goon. So we will bring him on up. He is a specialist in the most unique soccer markets that you can potentially think of. He's involved with the Daily Grinder, a real ball knower. Let's bring him on up. Adrian, thank you for joining us. Last 16 of the Champions League. We have the draws available. How are you feeling? You excited for the next round?
Sound check, first of all.
We got you. I mean, I got you at least.
Always have problems, so this time we logged in early and make sure it's working. Yeah, so we had the draw this morning, I guess, and some exciting matchups coming up. We got everybody's little Cinderella story, Bodo Glimt.
Mm-hmm.
They're paired up with Portuguese side Sporting Lisbon. It's a good draw for them. I mean, the best they could have hoped for, and I think they match up well with the Portuguese because they can soak up pressure and they're very precise on in their transition play, and that gives them hope to advance to a place where no Norwegian side has been this millennium.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's get that. We have a graphic here. We have all of the fixtures up on screen here. So, you mentioned, I think this is last year's draw. We'll get an up-to-date draw, which I didn't see before the show started. But you mentioned one of them already, which is actually where I wanted to start. There's a lot of, Titanic clashes and all. But the one I really want to discuss is Bodo Glimt against Sporting Lisbon. You already mentioned that Bodo Glimt kind of match up well. And let's talk about like the last few games they've had. They beat Man City. Not only did they go through against Inter Milan, the leaders in the Serie A, but they beat them in both legs. Like very impressive what they've done here. And you think they've got a real shot of getting past Sporting here?
This team was 100-1 with 2 games to go in the group stage to advance, and since then they've done wonders. I mean, everybody tends to think that because they play at the North Pole and they have the artificial turf, it's an unfair advantage, but it is what it is. It's home field advantage. You deal with it. And it's not like all these clubs don't have artificial pitches to practice on, right? Inter has like 8 pitches. So there were no surprises there. To be fair to Inter, they played well in the first leg. They played really well in the first half. They just couldn't finish. Not having Lautaro made a big difference. They changed their approach. They wanted to be aerial, and that played into the hands of the Norwegians. And once they got to crunch time and they're running out of time, transition opportunities came, and Bodo was just awesome putting them away.
All right, I think we're getting the updated one on screen here.
While that happens, we can go through the PSG challenge. I looked at the draw, and it looks like if they're going to win the trophy, they could actually play an English team in every round the rest of the way.
Oh, really? Okay,
yeah, so they get Chelsea, they can get Liverpool in the next round, Man City after, and Arsenal or
wow,
Spurs in the final.
That would be certainly something to see. So we have the draw up on screen now. PSG playing against Chelsea here. Galatasaray advance. They play Liverpool, Atalanta and Bayern, Bayer Leverkusen, Arsenal, Atletico Madrid, Tottenham, Newcastle, Barcelona. One I want to touch on here as well. I think we get this every year. I don't know if it's been like the last 6 or 7 years in a row, but it's felt like close to that. If not, Real Madrid against Manchester City. Not an ideal draw for either of these teams, but how do you think they stack up now in 2026? Arbeloa at the helm for Real Madrid.
Yeah, they just played in December, and
right.
Man City 1-2 at the Bernabeu. They're both fighting to stay in the title chase in the league, so they're playing on multiple fronts, and obviously Champions League is going to be the focus for both. But you never know what you're going to get with these two. City hasn't been playing as well as I thought they could play at this point of the season, but they're still getting results and they're putting pressure on Arsenal, waiting for Arsenal to fold. In La Liga, Real Madrid has had the excuse of injuries for a little bit, but they're still 1 point behind Barca, and they want to reel them in hopefully before this tie. I think City has the higher ceiling, but Real has the lower floor. So it depends who brings it in this one. Anything's possible.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I mean, we saw you spoke that Bodo Glimt 100-1 to advance beyond the group stage, but I recall I believe it was a semifinal between Manchester City and Real Madrid. At one point in the game, City were 99%, probably even higher than 99% to advance. Real Madrid to score 2 late goals and end up going on to win the Champions League. So yes, anything truly can happen when these two teams are playing. Aside from those two, are there any other fixtures here that you are interested in discussing?
Newcastle Barcelona should be interesting. Newcastle is hitting form, and there's no pressure on them. They have the ability to trade chances, Barcelona, and that transition game is scary.
Okay.
Barcelona, we've seen them vulnerable to these situations where they just create and not finish. So it's going to be an interesting tie.
All right. Let's stay on this briefly here. There's a lack of, and I said this when I opened the show today, there's a lack of Italian representation here. Atalanta are through. and they're playing Bayern Munich, a really tough round of 16 matchup here. They were, maybe not fortunate, it's not the right word, but it took a real Borussia Dortmund collapse in the previous round to get Atalanta here. And if it wasn't for that, we would have no Italian teams here. Napoli knocked out in the group stage. Juventus lost 5-2 in the first leg against Galatasaray. Weren't able to overcome it in the second leg despite getting to extra time. And Inter, as we spoke about, lost to Bodo Glimt, which, I mean, that was a dream draw for them, but they're out at this stage despite being, they're first in Serie A. Napoli won the Serie A last year, and they're not even they didn't even get beyond the group stage here. So real perilous era right now for Italian soccer. Why do you think that is? It's been a few years of this now.
Yeah, I mean, if you're living on Little Italy, you're worried about the World Cup. You're worried about Juventus. You're worried about everything. I mean, in the 90s, it was the Serie A that was the big league in all around the world, and everybody was watching that. Now EPL has taken the focus. They've taken the money, and it's a lot tougher to compete for Italian teams in signing players and also keeping the ones they have. If you look at the transfers during the January transfer window, you'll see that very few stars went to Serie A, while a few of theirs kind of took off for greener grounds. It's a real problem for them. They're going to lose another team in the Champions League, I think, next season. So something has to be done. I don't know if it's money related or if it's player development, but it's a crisis. Not quite like the Canadian hockey crisis, but they have work to do.
Well, no, at least Canadian hockey, they're in the gold medal game. Italy this might be the third straight World Cup Italy don't qualify. Do you put any credence to I look at Juventus these days. Juventus, I have Italian roots. Juventus ingrained in my family. Let's take their starting 11 against Galatasaray, for example. Only 3 Italian players. Do you think there's a contribution there a little bit?
Well, when the Bosman law came in, clubs were allowed to have 3 foreign players, and now there's no limitations on that. So development suffers. Younger players don't get the opportunities to get minutes. They play in the Primavera and they play in other competitions like the UEFA U19, but they don't get that Serie A Catenaccio, the physical early confrontations to develop as they used to many years ago. It's no excuse for them. They still have a talent pool and they're doing well in the youth competitions, but a lot of players have had to go abroad to get minutes instead of playing in Serie A. It's a problem across multiple leagues where it's cheaper to import same level talent than to develop it locally. The local players are more expensive than the imports.
Yeah, it felt like England were kind of in this position about 10 years ago where they were just English players were struggling to break through into their clubs. That's shifted quite dramatically in the last 10 years. So it's not.
Now they just go to Dortmund.
Yeah. There you go. On Italy, we at club level, mini crisis, I'd say right now. National level, full-blown crisis. If it's a third straight World Cup that Italy do not qualify for. Awaiting them is potentially a group that they should quite fancy to get out of and potentially win the group. But they haven't played in a World Cup since 2014. Northern Ireland up ahead. They're the favorites to get out of this pool, but we've seen them in these against a worse team than this fumble at this stage.
I think they'll take care of business. Northern Ireland's not a team that should create them problems. Neither was North Macedonia, to be honest. But
one goal,
anything can happen.
Miracle shot changes.
But
everything.
I think mentally they're more prepared now than they were in previous qualifying campaigns when they got to the playoffs. They didn't expect to get to the playoffs. They thought of it as we don't really belong here, and they might have overlooked some opponents. I don't think that's going to happen with the current coach.
Yeah, Gattuso hopefully gets the mindset straight there, and at least
he really got them going. Like that game against Israel, they just kept going back and forth. You could see that he kind of willed them to success, and he kind of transmits those values and that intensity. And I think the Italians will take advantage of that.
All right, interesting insight there. We'll get into some of the marquee games around Europe. I was actually going to go with this one third. We're already talking about Juventus and Italian soccer, so let's start with this one. One of the marquee games that I've highlighted for the weekend is Roma against Juventus. Currently on FanDuel, we have Roma plus 160 at home, Juve plus 185 away, plus 200 for a draw. So very similar price for all three of these. Very tight window here, but an important game, especially if the European places become harder and harder to achieve. Like, this is a pretty massive game.
Yeah, I mean they're both a long way away from the title. Inter's running away with that, but they're still in the battle for the 2, 3, 4 that get to the Champions League. So it's a key game. Juve has some injuries. Long term, nothing new. They're getting Canadian striker David back from I think he was suspended last game or injured. They have some issues in net. Di Gregorio and Perin are kind of battling it out. I think Perin's going to start this game. And home Milic and Vlahovic are all out long term. For Roma, I don't have much information, but it's always hard to go to the Olimpico and win. These are the type of games that one mistake or one super play makes a difference, like we saw in that Inter Juve game a couple of weeks ago.
Absolutely. Maybe some referee involvement as well, potentially. Who knows when it comes to Italy?
That never happens in Italy.
No, of course not. We're going to get into German soccer now. I think this is the biggest game on the soccer calendar this weekend. We have Der Klassiker. We have Borussia Dortmund hosting Bayern Munich. Bayern slowly starting to pull away in the league, but always a massive game when these two teams take each other on. Bayern minus 160 away from home here. Dortmund plus 350 on the three-way, and a draw at plus 360. How do you see this one going?
Bayern has some injuries. They're down to a third stringer on the left back. Davis is out. His backup Ito is out as well. Neuer is not ready yet, so I think the youngster Urbig gets a start there. For the other side, Nicolas Sule has had a rough season. He's been kind of in and out, and they've been missing him. I don't think he plays in this one. Right back Ryerson is also suspended, so they're flipping Ben Sebaini, who played left back last in midweek. He's going to play right back. Chan is likely out, and it's a couple of big holes for both teams. I expect some back and forth action. This one is never done until it's done. If I were to look at anything over, would be the play here.
Over the play potentially here. I'll find the odds on this one here in a second. Just on this fixture, I would have felt like maybe Bayern dominate this one a little bit more. But if you go to like the head-to-head for the last like 5 or 6 games, like Dortmund kind of hold their own. I know, like, going back to these historical figures don't like matter too much to like the current, but Dortmund, it's always an exciting game, as you mentioned. If you do want to take the over, you can get over 3.5 goals currently available on FanDuel minus 128, and just hope for a lot of action this one.
Yeah, shop around. There's better prices out there.
Right. But looking for goals in this one regardless. Final marquee matchup. Let's go to England. I don't think you're a major English Premier League watcher. Correct me if I'm wrong. But Arsenal, are you?
No, not really. I follow Brighton
Okay.
a little bit, but
Okay.
like anybody else, if the game's on, I'll watch it.
Yeah, so we have Arsenal and Chelsea. Perhaps you could provide some thoughts here. Arsenal minus 170 to take this one. In need of points, the Premier League as it stands. If City win all of their remaining fixtures, they win the league. If Arsenal win all of their remaining fixtures, they win the league. But City are kind of slowly gaining ground. It feels like kind of the classic Arsenal in February. Is it going to happen again? Tough matchup here, but what are your thoughts heading into this one?
Yeah, they did well in the last London derby against Spurs last weekend, and it's interesting because Arsenal dropped some points that they really didn't deserve to drop, and there's been a lot of pressure on Gyökeres to contribute, and he's been doing that in the new year.
City has been excellent against Spurs
for sure. City have been playing worse but getting results, so it's they close the gap, but it feels like the gap is bigger than it really is. They have that one game at City, and in a few weeks, which will probably decide the title. But I think Arsenal have a little bit of margin for error going the rest of the way, as long as they don't pull off another choke job like they did a few seasons.
It always feels like when these two clubs are close in a title race, it always feels like if it's in February or March when they play each other, it always feels like Man City get the result they need in that game. They always either win, or if they're the ones ahead, they get the draw there. But if Arsenal want to do it, that's the one they got to win.
Yeah, the one difference this year is Arsenal have a lot more depth. I know they've dealt with a lot of injuries, but their defense is really, really solid. They've been blamed for getting all those set play goals and refereeing decisions, but they are really, really solid, and they have the depth to keep it going. The good news for Arsenal is that they got a pretty decent draw the rest of the way in Champions League, so they can make a run on both fronts and not have to choose one or the other. if City get knocked out by Real Madrid in Champions League, then they will have to focus on the league alone. So there's a lot in play with these. Chelsea Champions League almost guaranteed, but not as good as expected. They keep buying a lot of young players and trying to figure out the ones that can fit into their system. Maybe they're in it for the profit. They should be just focusing on getting a steady roster and using it instead of just alternating players in and out.
Right. So anything that we've talked about so far? I know you mentioned the over in the Dortmund Bayern game, but anything else Champions League related or any other games that you're interested betting wise that we've discussed?
So there's another one in France that's pretty good. The Marseille against Lyon this weekend. Marseille changed coaches a couple of weeks ago. They got a new guy in from Rennes. He closed doors and they've been practicing on their own for a week. Nobody knows what's happening. Like a bit of a boot camp. They need to come out and make a statement for the new coach. Lyon have been pretty good all season. Tolisso has been outstanding. The American in midfield, Martin Tessman as well as a defensive mid. This one there's some doubts on defense between Mata and Kluivert, who's going to start there. Moreira, their striker, is injured. But since Endrick joined from Real Madrid at the winter break, they've been on fire going forward. And they signed the reclamation project, Remchak. He was somewhere in Greece, I think. And now he's starting for them. So it's an interesting thing. They've changed ownership as well. It used to be John Texer that kind of moved players around and did things that people didn't really agree with. So now they have a new owner. And are hoping to clean things up. So this is always a big game in France. The pressure's on Marseille to get a result. Again, the over might be the play here. These two teams they played 3-2 and 3-2 last year. I think Lyon won the first game 1-0, but it was a lot of chances. So I expect an open game here, and nobody's going to settle for a draw.
Okay, and on FanDuel, -150 for over 2.5, +172 for over 3.5. But I'm sure you shop around as well. You can find a 2.75 market as well.
275 or 3 should be decent. Even over 3 plus 110, 115 should be good.
Noted on that front. Now, finally, we're going to bring it home. We're going to shift to the MLS. We'll get your thoughts on the MLS weekend in general, but a big transfer was made official this morning. Toronto FC. I live down the street from BMO Field. Josh Sargent, new striker for Toronto FC, looking like he wants to get a good run ahead of the World Cup. A lot of money.
Not a fan.
Not a fan. Okay.
No, I mean, not
why.
The player's decent. I just thought they could do so much better for that amount of money. There's other players they could have had for maybe half the price that with a lot more upside. It seems that he really wanted to be in Toronto, and that's to be closer to family. I'm not sure what his Toronto ties are, but playing in the MLS gives him an opportunity to play in the World Cup if it shows well. So he should be motivated, and Toronto has the players to provide the service. I just thought that it was an overreach, especially with the way Norwich was, pressed against the wall with the transfer deadline and relegation threats. They could have waited him for a little longer and gotten a better price, at least.
Yeah, it was a lot of money. As a selfishly as a Toronto FC fan, I'm happy there's a serious striker here. I can't remember the last time this club had a serious striker. I guess it's Altidore. Jesus Jimenez was okay for a little bit, but. Not to the degree of this. So I'm happy to have that. As you said, they have the service room with guys like Mihailovic, who's done very well since arriving at Toronto FC. Just on TFC, they've been near the basement the last years. How do they stack up now? I mean, I look at the potential squad, like 11 they could put out. Feels like this is a team that could actually be okay this season.
If things go well, they could be okay. I have mid-pack in my power rankings. The problem is they don't have a goalie. Gavran is not the solution. They still have a whole either left back or right back, depending on where Richie Lorea doesn't play.
Maybe neither. Sometimes he's just at center back, which I think is a waste.
Yeah, that should never be the case. But going forward, they look okay now. If they get the new striker integrated in pretty quick, then they should be okay going forward. They just need to address a couple of holes at the back. And who knows, maybe during the World Cup, they identify somebody in that can, be happy to come to North America and make a run in the second half of the season. They play a lot of games away to start the season, so that should help them down the stretch.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Good point. On the MLS, just the weekend in general, any games you're looking at, maybe Sporting KC, home to Columbus. Columbus solid
Yep.
team.
I'm on the Fade
pretty
KC train.
Yeah, the anti-KC. Are we doing that again this week?
Yeah, no reason to stop. They were awful. They're getting a couple of games players back, but Columbus, they've made a nice signing in Andrew Gomes. Not sure if he's going to play or not, but they are a much better team and they should take care of business. I also played Miami early, plus 135, I think. Messi's going to play, and that price has moved a little bit, but Orlando looked like a disaster against New York. No reason to believe they fixed that, especially with Cartagena injured.
Okay, so looking at Columbus against Sporting KC, they're minus 120.
Yeah, I played minus 118, minus 118. I also played, what did I play here? I played over 3 in the Dallas-Nashville game at minus 105, and Portland plus a quarter, minus 118 against Colorado, another disaster team.
Okay, so plenty of betting insight into the MLS there. Just getting started the season, so maybe lines are a little bit softer than they could be as we get a little bit more. But I'm happy that I'm in early on Columbus because I had that earlier in the week. So I'm happy you agree with that one. I've got a strong position there. That's all we've got for today. Adrian, thank you so much. Appreciate your soccer insight as always. Hope you enjoy the games this weekend.
Thanks for having me. Same to you.
Of course. That was Adrian at Drunken Goon on Twitter. Excellent source of soccer information, especially for like the leagues that maybe you're not as familiar with. He provides the insight there and great insight there towards the MLS. Awesome stuff. If you guys are enjoying the stream so far, another reminder here on YouTube, hit the like button, subscribe if you're new. If you're on Twitter, maybe consider sharing, like it over there. Just do anything just for us. If you're listening in audio form, do us a favor. Takes you a minute, but if you could, give us a 5-star rating here. Rate and review 5 stars. It really does help the channel grow. The more the channel grows, the more content and the more better content we can provide to you, the viewer and the listener. One thing that's on my mind here before we get into wrapping up the show today. Something that's been bothering me for quite a while now, especially in the week after the Winter Olympics, because we're kind of coming back to reality here. I really enjoyed watching the Olympics. I really enjoyed watching Canada men's hockey at the Winter Olympics right up until, of course, they lost in overtime of the gold medal game. But I really enjoy the purity of watching Olympic sports. And I know that it's still this media monster that, hauls in these humongous sponsorship deals. I recognize that. But even still, when you take that in comparison to like an NHL game, oh my God, like the experience of watching an Olympic hockey game compared to an NHL hockey game is absolutely night and day. First of all, the games actually start on time. If the game is listed at 11:10, you best believe the puck is getting dropped at 11:10, maybe 11:11, 11:12. NHL, it's anyone's fucking guess when that game is going to start. 7:30 start time. It might be 7:40, 7:45, 7:35. You have no idea when that game is actually going to start. Then you get into the actual game. Like maybe Olympics, maybe 2 commercials per period. Like I'm fine with that. We get a little break. I'm actually fine with that. As for the NHL, it feels like there are so many commercial stoppages, not to mention the entire game is a commercial with the advertisements all over the board and all over the ice. I recognize that they've got to make money and everything, but like you'd think that'd be the case for the Olympics as well. But just to be able to watch the sport in a pure form was so enjoyable. And now that I've had a taste of it, I don't want to have to go back. I mean, I'm watching NBA games, and these days, like NBA games, I'm watching the Raptors. If the game's at 7:30, I know it's not going to start on time. But like previous years, it was like, maybe 7:37, 7:38, sometimes 7:41. I don't think there's been a single game that I've watched the Raptors this season where they've started before 10 minutes after the scheduled start time. So like you're wondering like what could possibly be the reason behind the game starting late? Is it because if they started at 7:30, if they say it starts at 7:30 and people are on their couch watching at 7:30, they can run advertising and stuff leading up to the game. And like maybe that's the case, but like the biggest league of them all, the NFL, doesn't have this issue, doesn't need this. If the kickoff's at 1 p.m., the fucking kicker is kicking off at 1 p.m. I don't understand why we can have this in the NFL. They'll start right at 1. In the MLB, 7:07, that first pitch is getting launched at 7:07. But in the NHL and NBA, it is a guessing game as to when these games are going to start. Let's bring back the quality of these sports. Like NBA, the amount of times I've heard Adam Silver, the commissioner, bitch about the ratings here. Well, maybe something that would help is just bringing back a more pure form of the sport. Like, just let me watch the game on time. I think that would be a bit of a help. And I think that would definitely make a change. I want to bring on producer Mike behind the scenes, Media Mike. You were a little bit against me when I said this pre-stream, but am I getting you to come around?
Honestly, that was a very convincing point of view. However, I personally don't see an issue with it. I will say, like, maybe the start time on wherever, like, your app that you use, whatever those apps may be, maybe that's when the start of the broadcast begins. You know, I've never noticed it to be an issue. If a game starts at 7:27, 7:33, I don't care. It's honestly up until now that you've kind of brought in the point. You know, like I said, they kind of need to build the story. They need to build the game up, you know, last minute lineup confirmations. At the end of the day, it's a business. Like, these guys want every dollar they can get. And if it's an extra commercial that, you know, cuts in 15 seconds, I will say even TSN, they don't include the national anthems anymore. They give the panel, the desk, the whole, like,
don't get me started
35 minutes. And then it's like, boom, right to puck drop. But I don't see it being as big of an issue as you make it to be. But again, we all have our own opinions.
You know, if you want, you can just watch earlier. Like, you know, NFL games start at 1. You could turn it on at 12:50. It is my conscious decision. I want to see the pre-games. I want to see them, like for soccer, I want to see them come out of the tunnel because soccer games, EPL games start right on time. I want to see them walk out of the tunnel because you know what? That does build up the tension in my living room. I do get more excited seeing them walk out of the tunnel, but I can actively choose to watch that if I want to. And
I've always been, as I gotten older, I've always been a fan of pregame. I love the pregame. I love hearing what's going on. I love the storylines.
So
I love the walk-ins.
So you know the pregame, watching it this time.
Yeah. But I don't care if the game starts late. That is not. I don't care. And also, like, if you were physically at the game, you had tickets to the game, and the game started at 7:03, would you care? Do you care?
I go to a lot of TFC games, and it pisses me off how late they start.
Really?
MLS starts late as well. It does piss me off, yes.
So you wouldn't use the extra time to, like, grab a beer, wait in line for an extra 3 minutes?
No, because I'm an educated
anything.
beer drinker. I'm there early getting my beer. I have a beer in my hand 30 minutes before the game starts, and these games start so late, I get a second one before the game starts sometimes.
Honestly, again, I don't make it as big of a deal as you make it out to be, but we're just two people. I know Rob's a big fan of games starting on time. So, I mean, we'll have to grab an opinion from everyone else and wait and see. So,
yeah, chat.
I mean, if you want to keep the conversation going, go in the Discord, and we'll keep this one going. Anyways, let's wrap it up here.
Yeah, chat. Let me know what you guys think on that front. But yeah, that's something that really does piss me off. Before we go, promo some other stuff around the Hammer Betting Network. If you liked what you've seen from this stream today, you might also enjoy me hosting on Circle Back. We had a great episode this morning. Our leadoff topic was the disaster that occurred when every golfer for a PGA Tour event was listed at minus 10,000. And you might think, well, nobody's going to bet it at minus 10,000. Well, what if you had already bet it and you had a cash out option? Some chaos ensued over there. So great episode of Circle Back. We have all the channels we have in the Hammer Bet Network, including Circles Off, linked in the description. So you can go ahead and check it out. Also, down in the description, you can find all the links to our social media. We have daily content available on all of our socials, TikTok, Instagram, and right here on YouTube, as well as our Twitter account. So lots of great content. I know it's the end of the week, but even over the weekend, there's going to be some content there for you to hopefully enjoy. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. This has been your Friday, February 27th edition of the Hammer Daily. Make sure on your way out, you hit that like button to help support the channel. Subscribe so that when we're back Monday at 12 p.m. Eastern time, as we are for every weekday, you know it's right here. Even hit the notification bell just to confirm that you never miss out on anything we have coming your way. Thank you so much. I've been Jacob Gramegna. We will see you again next time.